Well, I'm one of the first Eternal girls. I got up very early this morning to start on the long form video. See, Bernie and Kelly hit early morning, so it looks like I had to start first.
I would like for the fans out there to get to know us better, and I think this is a great video to do that with, us doing all our hobbies which we do in our spare time, which you guys just don't get to see, sitting with the family, basically getting to know Eternal far more than you would on any other interview we've ever done.
You'll be getting the insights on what's happening with Eternal, what has happened with Eternal. Hopefully that'll be interesting. I don't know, have to wait and see.
The people we are always going on about are our family and friends that we miss so much. We decided to do some work with
Kelly
them.
always puts it in a nice way.
I'm trying.
Sorry, Kelly, go on.
I'm trying to.
Please finish.
I will.
please.
We're always going on about them, so we decided to let them tag along for the day.
What else can I say to you? We're going to be putting in a lot of old videos, Just a Step, Save Our Love, Stay. You're going to see some old shots with obviously Louise in it, which for most of us is the great part of Eternal. And then there's more fantastic parts to come.
So I guess I'll start with my guys. I've got my mother dearest here that I'm always going on about, that I wrote I'm Still Crying For, yeah, and all of that. You guys all know that jazz. That's my mom, and that's her sister, my Aunt Zena. And the one that was making all the noise while I was trying to talk is my little baby cousin Fabian and his big brother Anthony. That's my lot.
What other things are we doing today? We'll be doing some rollerblading, which hopefully it will be on a flat surface because we're not brilliant on that either. Although we say, oh, we're always rollerblading.
And I must say, because the Bennett family are just so big, the rest of them belong to us, yeah? And I'll start over here. This is my best mate, Amrit, and we went to uni together. She was the very first person I actually knocked on her door. My sister.
And we both look like, oh my God, I want to go back home.
My sister dropped me off, and that was it. Been dumped in uni, and I went knocking on all the doors, and this was one of the people that I saw sat in her room.
People always say, you know, I'd like to know the people behind the music, and hopefully during this video you'll get to see what we're like, what our families are like, what we like doing, and the people that we really are. And I hope that, you know, you get a little bit more intimate with the group.
This is my brother Derek, which a lot of you have written and asked, you know, who do we write with and who is Derek Bennett? Well, that's the writer that we all use on the album.
Good job.
Okay, this is my little nephew Josh. Say hello. Hello. This is my cousin Dre. Say hi.
Hello.
Okay.
I think not many groups stay together for a very long time, and it's great when you can for 5-6 years and not even just stay together but be successful with your hits. And I think it's such a privilege to have 13 consecutive top 15 hits and be able to package that as a greatest hits.
Does it feel like 4 years? Well, yes and no. I mean, yes it feels like 4 years because it has taken a long time to get through all of the processes that you take to become successful. And no, it doesn't feel like a long time because it feels like it's flown, because every day of your life is planned out, is scheduled, is mapped out. You know exactly what you're doing every day, and it goes very, very quickly. Time flies, you know, I guess time flies when you're having fun.
This is our niece Jasmine, another niece Natasha, another niece Leah. Hello guys. Hi. Behind me is my best mate's brother. This is Daniel.
Hi.
The lady in the yellow, that's Denise, that's my best mate. And then there's my cousin. Beverly. She normally talks more than that. Her name's Beverly.
For me personally, being a part of Eternal is something that I'm very proud of. Something that I've always wanted to be a singer, so being with in the beginning for our 3 other ladies was great because it's easier. I'd say it's less work on the road. You always have someone to talk to. You always have a friend, and it's so enjoyable. Every day is the best day of your life, you could say.
Ow! That took like 3 hours in hair and makeup.
I think from being in Eternal, I've grown far wiser, quicker than I would in any other job, and not so much homebound as I used to be. I think I'm a lot more outgoing, and I love to travel now.
I cannot believe it's been 4 years and that I'm finally on my Greatest Hits album. I think with every year that's gone by and with every album that we've made, it's been a blessing. But for someone to say to me, you've got enough hits to make a Greatest Hits album, is one of the most amazing feelings anyone could ever express. But having said Greatest Hits, I always think, God, Greatest Hits seems like a lifetime achievement. And like I say, we've only just started, so I really think the best is yet to come.
I think at the beginning I'd say Eternal worked the hardest. We were in every country you could think of, sometimes in 2 countries in one day. But other than the hard work, it has been exciting. We've met a lot of people that for most of us we've admired from a very young age. We met BB Winans, who's worked with us on all of our albums. We met Al Green, we worked with Lulu, we met Whitney Houston, we met so many people, even American singers. I mean, it's been great for us. It's been a great journey.
Oh, I had many fears when I first started. I wondered how I'd cope leaving my family and friends at such a young age. I wondered how we'd be accepted in the UK market, because we were one of the very first black R&B groups to be released in the UK market that was saturated with pop music and alternative music, so I had no idea how our music would be received and whether we'd even be popular. I had no idea, so I was really scared, and I think I left straight from school and went into a profession that I had no idea about. I had no idea of anything about the music industry, so I had a lot of fears, but thank God I conquered them with a lot of help.
I think we've learned a lot in growing through the years of what the business is like and what's expected of you. And in terms of albums, we're very young, so we let our management and our record company sort of lead us, and a lot of people around us, because at that age and that new in the business, you don't really know what you want or how do you want your music to sound. And as the years got by, we've written more. We've said to producers, no, we don't want that, but we do want this, as opposed to just sitting there saying, yes, okay, no. So I think we've put more into our music, and we've just, more knowledge has just been put in us every day of our lives.
My favourite song of Always and Forever was, well, cross between Amazing Grace and Stay, because Stay just began everything, and it was like the beginning of an era. My favourite video, I'd have to agree with Esther, was definitely Just a Step from Heaven. I think working with Matthew Rolston was such a turning point in our careers, and we'd had a couple of singles out, and we were kind of just known as a girly group in big jeans and stuff, and Matthew Rolston came along and gave us a completely different image, a completely different style, and a completely different vibe. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think such a big progression would have been made in such a short space of time.
Now I see Amazing Grace.
I actually think that's an excellent album. I know for a lot of people that listen back to their first album, they're like, oh, the chording is so terrible, the vocals weren't that great. But I listen back to it and I think it's just as good as the albums that we're making today, which is surprising, but it's a relief to not be looking at something that's terrible. I still put it in my car. You know, it's nice to put the old albums on opposed to the newer ones.
Stay.
watch old videos, it's always there's always a massive big cringe factor. You're like, I can't believe I had my hair cut like that. Why in the world did I wear those clothes? And who did my makeup on that shoot? There's always those kind of things that go on. But I'm actually really proud of where we started and what we've come from. I think you have to do the bad videos to learn how you look good and how you don't look good, and what directors you want to work with and what directors you don't want to work with, and what lighting suits you and what clothes suit you. So you have to go through that learning process in order to grow and become an artist. And I think we've done all right. Don't you think we've done all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we've done all right.
They say that love will come and go. Your love in this hand so to me. I really wanna be with you. What are we gonna do, boy? I don't know. I don't know just what it takes to get to you. I don't know.
When we did stay, it was go out and get them nails done, get that hair done, and it was styled down to a T, and they had all these bright colours outfits, and we were like, I don't know, but it's our first video, so let's just go with it, innit, girls?
Yeah.
And you were in like these shoes that never ever fit you on every video shoot.
Yeah.
You always have shoes that never fit you, and you always dance into a routine, so you're like, but you have to smile, you know. So you definitely can remember it. And as soon as we had a minute, it was like, get them shoes off. But the nails were so long that you couldn't take your shoes off. So you had to keep saying to someone, could you take my shoes off, please? Like, could you put them back on? So it was a fun shoot, definitely.
I want you to stay. I need you to stay goodbye. Come on,
Save Our Love was a really funny video.
Somebody likes
Somebody likes it. It was fun, but they said to us when we got the script, they said, stop kissing him. When they got the script, they said that it was going to be a huge big swimming pool with reflections of you guys performing on the stage, and it's going to be larger than life. We were like, oh great, that sounds like a really good concept for a video. And we got there and there was like a millimetre of water and this tiny mini little pool and this tiny little stage, and we were like, oh, this is good, you know. So we learnt a lot about reading between the lines in video scripts and knowing exactly what they're talking about and learning to ask more questions, so it was interesting.
walking in circles, thinking if all we had was gone. Oh yeah, my love would be worthless. Never known emotions could run this strong. Oh, you don't know what went on inside of me when you said that you've been living. 'Cause I heard you selfishly. Without your love, I'm as hopeless as the earth without the sun. Oh, come on back. Say it's not too late. I know the time is love. Help me, darling. We got to save our love. Save our love. Stay close beside me. 'Cause the sky's on me now. Come on, baby. Come on and save our love. Save our love.
I'd say we're involved in our videos in the sense that we get to see all the scripts and we choose who we want, or we add or we take out. Definitely with clothes. I think So Good was a brilliant one for us because it was like the blitz. You know, you're in New York, you're on the streets, and you know you're doing it in Manhattan town, and it was a great video for us. I mean, that was the second time that it was actually in America. So, if anything, if it wasn't just for the video, you loved it. It was just being in New York and being able to do some shopping, which is quite sad.
You tell me, baby, can I hold you close tonight? Moving nearer, hold me tight, 'cause you make me feel so right.
God, sitting here listening to the girls, I was going, Always and Forever. Is that the one we're talking about, Always and Forever? Yeah. Okay,
It's not that hard.
Oh, he had 6, was it 7 singles? Okay, I would say it'd be so good because we also wrote that song, so I suppose that would make that video even more special for us. It'd be the first video that we've ever made for a song that we've written that's not only been released but is also a single. But that was quite funny because we had to run out last minute and buy suits for the video, which were, can you say what they were? But they were designer suits, and it was like a last minute thing because the stylist really didn't get us what we wanted to wear.
If there's a place in your heart we could share, we could both be there together. 'Cause you give me so much joy, and I should be spent for just me and you. Could be good, so good if we could come together. Could be so good if we could last forever. Could be so good if we could come together.
I'd say my favourite video of Always and Forever would be maybe Just a Step, because it was more like acting, and you know, you had this thick makeup on, and it was more like a Black Panther kind of a thing. Whereas most of our videos, you know, you look good, it's really sweet and it's really girly, and it's like, no, none of that. So I think my favourite one was Just a Step, and it had a wicked dance routine in it.
I don't think we're about a phase. I think if you're about a phase in music, if you're a certain style and you're with what's popular at the time, then you've got a problem, because people change and people move on and people like different things. People are fickle. One day you like this, the next day you like that. So if you're with that current phase, then you've got a problem. But we're not really about that. We're about making great music and great songs, and we're songwriters and we enjoy that. And we work with producers that can push us and progress us. So we never really have that problem. As long as you make great music and somebody out there enjoys it, then you're okay.
A lot of Eternal is why people buy our music is not to do with how we dress and how we look. I think it might have a little. I mean, I can't say. I know for us personally, that's like very low on the list. I think first and foremost is a great song, a great melody, lyrics, great vocals and harmonies. For us, that is what makes an album, and that's what makes people want to buy an Eternal album. Secondary to that, obviously, we're not just going to look like anything on the front of an album, but it's not that important how we look. But I mean, we're quite smart girls, so I don't think we'd go far wrong.
I'd say the reason why Eternal have success is there's definitely more than one. I think the hard work our management and our record company put in, also 3 members, Eternal, also our fans. If we didn't have fans, then obviously you wouldn't be successful also. The way we're marketed, the fact that we've got such classy songs and songs with substance. But I personally would say that of all those reasons, the top one would be because of God. I don't think, if he decides that you're going to be successful, then you will. If he wants you to do something else in life, then he'll soon show you the way, and I think that's the main reason why we're successful.
You need a power of a woman.
Power Woman was it wasn't an album that we had much time on. It wasn't a case of, oh, go away, think about what you want to do, girls, have some time to write and record. It wasn't about that at all. It was a case of, girls, you need this album out before Christmas time, so that there wasn't too much of a gap between Always Forever and Power of a Woman. We wanted to make an album that was progressive, that was better than the first one, or at least as good as the first one. Louise was leaving and discussing it at the time that we were making it, because we were picking songs and she was there and deciding what she wanted to do. So we were trying to be supportive to her because she had a solo career to take on, and also trying to pull together as a unit because we knew we had another album to make. So it was a difficult time. It was patchy time because we didn't know if people were going to still like Eternal after there were only 3 members. You know, it was really difficult, but thankfully we pulled together and we came up with a really great album.
Hurry up and come with me. Only love can be our destiny. Hurry up and make it true. Gotta find, gotta see, gotta make this reality. Baby, we've been going through good and bad times. I love the feeling, gives me peace within my mind. We're in this together, so don't throw it all away. Hear me when I say, I realize in your eyes, I see the light, baby, in a special way.
I think it's lovely for all of those fans of Louise, especially now. I mean, she's a fully established solo artist. She's on her second album, currently recording it. So there's no kind of, oh, was it an amicable split? Was it this? Was it that? It's all quite clear now. We're still friends. We still see each other. Obviously, we both got our own careers, so we're busy, so we don't see as much of each other. But we're still friends and we still hang out. We're still cool. She comes to our shows and we go to hers. So there's none of that kind of negativity that was going on in the press. None of that was true at all. But it's lovely. I think it's nice to be established, both of us, gone away and done our own things and done really, really well. So Powerful Woman was about us. It was about us being independent, about us growing as individuals and as artists, and really just taking the stronger points from the band and putting them forward. It wasn't really a femininity thing about burning bras and all that kind of stuff. It was just about women being positive in the industry without exploiting your femininity, and that for all of us is something very important.
I think it's the best time of the year, actually. I mean, we always say it, but it's absolutely true. It's the only time we actually get to see the people that are buying the albums. This last tour that we did, Before the Rain, was really surprising for us, because the year before, when we did the Good Thing tour, we had thousands of kids that came to see the show. And this time round, we had few kids, but a lot of everybody was from 20 upwards, and that was just like amazing, that how our audience had grown. We could say we had a great band, and a tour that we could say the stage was great and the lighting was fantastic, and we were really proud of all of those concepts. And yeah, it cost a lot of money, but it was a great show and we really enjoyed it, and all the feedback we got was that it was a great show and all of the fans really enjoyed it. And that's what it's about at the end of the day, for people to come to a show and be entertained, and hopefully we did that.
I think it's a great feeling to know that to see the same people, to see people enjoying themselves, and to know that they're getting something out of Eternal's music. It just makes you want to keep going, and you're up there on stage thinking, what more can I give them? And that's all you want to do, is just keep giving more when you see such excitement from your own fans.
Quite a few different venues during our time, not just like arenas and things. We did a show for the Sultan of Brunei, which was great too. So they're all completely different situations, and you have to handle it differently when you get there. I mean, when we performed for the Pope, you know, the audience was made up of priests and deacons and bishops, and so it's, you know, it was different. They're not going to be screaming, and they're not going to be standing up and clapping and dancing. They were, you know, very reserved. So it's just adapting to different audiences, but at the end of the day, it shows the show, and we try to do our best no matter what the circumstances.
I think for me, when I see people on stage, I think, geez, I just want to go out there and tour again. But I think sometimes when you're on tour and every night you're up there, you're enjoying it, but then when you come down, you're so exhausted that you're like, oh, Jesus, when is this tour finishing, girls? But as soon as you get on, you're just like, go for it, let's do some more songs. Haven't we got any more, kind of a thing. But every time I go to see someone on tour, I always wish I was up there and I was singing. But I love seeing people sing live. It just makes me want to do better and makes me want to just keep going.
There was this time we were away and a fan wrote to me and described what she was going through in her life, and it was really, she was going through a really hard time, and she came to one of our shows, and she has a muscular disease. She came to one of our shows and we met her and we took pictures with her and everything, and she said how every time she's in the hospital and she's going through a really bad time, she puts on I'm Blessed, and it gets her through that painful time and then on to the next time, and it makes her feel better. And then a year later, everyone was saying we don't know whether she'll make it, and and a year later she was still alive and she was still happy and really well, and she came to the concert the year after. That was this tour, and she had put on weight, she'd gained weight, and she looked so incredibly happy, and I was so proud to be able to say that she had gone through every day of that year hoping and wishing that she could come to the next show and giving herself something to look forward to. And I think it's a major achievement for us as people to give somebody else some hope and somebody else some courage, and I was really, really pleased with that time, and I loved that moment. It was great.
There's many best sides of being in Eternal. Having two other people there for you, to comfort you, to listen to you, do you know what I mean? If you're a solo artist, it's just you, and you don't have anyone to turn to that maybe you could even trust. If say for instance we weren't in Eternal, we wouldn't travel to half the countries we've been to, which I know half of my friends, haven't even left London still. Also, for myself, I'm doing something I've always loved to do, and like we always say, and we're being paid for it, and not many people are doing jobs that they've wanted to do and are getting paid, so I think maybe that tops it really.
I think things change as you move on. I think goals definitely change because they increase. You want more out of your career, you want more from your vocals, you want more from producers, and you expect more from yourself and each other as a band. Bernie's moved on, she's challenged herself, got a studio in her own home, and now goes on to produce her own stuff and stuff hopefully for other people in the future, and our writing skills have definitely progressed. So I think if anything, our goals have increased, and we've tried to push ourselves and to progress to the next level. With every album we try to move on and try to change and try to get better, and with every year I think we have.
Well, usually when we release different tracks for different countries, it's got more to do with our record companies. When we present them our album, they feel that certain tracks will work. Like for instance, Japan had Finally, they had Who Are You. Those are two tracks we actually specifically wrote for that territory, because they feel that fast upbeat tracks work better for their territory as opposed to slow ones. Some tracks they've actually gone with, but most of the time they just go straight different tracks. Same for America. On this album we tried 4 new tracks for them, which would have been their single, which would have been one of them is Dreams, and that's what they chose, and they thought that would work better for their market, and that's the way we went.
One of the first memories I remember being in the group is when we were all introduced to each other. We were in this studio in London called Marcus Studio, and Dennis introduced us together. I'd obviously met Louise because we went to school together, but I hadn't met the girls before, and we were introduced together, and everyone was a bit nervous and a bit dubious about what to say and what not to say, and everyone was looking at each other's dress and how we kind of interacted with each other, and I found that a really strange time because I'm an only child and I'm an individual, so I've never been like that with people before. So it was a case of getting used to having sisters around and being with somebody in the morning and in the night and every single day of your life from then on. So it was difficult, but it was a time that I'm glad I got through because it gave us a really good foundation to go on and then have a successful career.
My first memory, singing together as a foursome, the song which I taught the girls, and it's a song that me and Esther learned in church as kids in Sunday school, and it's a song called Nobody Knows. It's the first time we ever sang together and did harmonies. It It was hilarious to start off with, but it got better. On the third album was a situation where we actually got a lot of time to actually songwrite, which is virtually unheard of. We wrote a lot of songs ourselves, individually and together as a group. It was more about doing what we wanted to do. I know on previous albums it's a case of first album we took a lot of advice from other people. Second album we had so much going on that you didn't even think about what you wanted to do in that album. And on the third album, it was a case of we'd settled more into who we are and what we wanted to do. It was more relaxing. It was probably, for me, I know, the best album because it was not rushed. It was a good feeling. It was I don't know. I actually got to record at home as well as in the studio because I've got my own studio at home. So I think that was probably the best thing.
I'd say it gets easier. I'd say it was definitely easier on this album. It was more of a laid-back kind of thing, especially like Vernie was saying that she's got her own studio, so it's your own free time. It's not your manager saying, right, here's 2 months, we need to write and record an album, and you're just working yourself so silly just to, you know, achieve maybe 3 or 4 songs or even the whole album. It definitely gets easier because you learn more, you listen to other types of music, and you have more of a direction of where you want to be and what kind of music you want to have out there for Eternal. I'd say it's a great feeling to work with someone like BB Winans. Myself and Vernie have looked up to him from a very young age, and it's just class. And it's nice to have someone there to sort of uplift what we have. We see ourselves as singers, and to work with someone else who's such a great singer, it just tops what Eternal has already.
It was great to work with BB for the third time because we've worked with him on every single album, so that was a great experience, not only for him to write, produce, but also to sing alongside us, because that was a new experience all round for us because we've never done a duet before. In terms of knowing whether it would be number one, no, if we knew what the formula for number one was, then we'd be making number ones all the time. We always try, like we've said before, to go for great songs, melodies and lyrics, and that is definitely one that's also got a great rhythm section that, you know, as soon as you hear it on the radio you want to get up and move, and it's easy to sing along to as well, so I think that was the key to the number one in this case.
Go, baby.
Now you deserve a mansion. Now you can have the best of life. With all this I'll give you a pure love that gold can't buy. If you take a chance, I'll be worth the chance, worth the chance.
Wannabe was based on a West Side Story theme. Randy again directed the video for us, and it was just girls v boys kind of thing, and it was a lot of fun because all of the extras were great people and great people to hang out with, and BB was there, and he's great fun and he's a great friend, so it was great. It was just really the reactions against us and them, and it was good fun.
Mine's the last answer for today, so it has to be deep.
So they say.
Describing my girlies, it's very hard. I don't know if I really want to do it, although they paid me £100 each.
Only 100.
Exactly, only, you know? Although they're worth a bit less, aren't you, ladies?
Thank you.
I'll get to the point because they obviously want me to.
Yes, please. As they do.
I'd say Vernie within the group is a musical person. She does very well in arranging things, arranging vocals, and you know, she knows how she wants things to sound, which helps myself and Kelly a lot when we're in the studio. For Kelly, I'd say she's a very good listener and very wise within the group. She sits back, she listens to what everyone has to say, and usually what she has to say is pretty good advice.
Okay, starting with Kelly. She is the articulate person in the group. Everything's got to be right. I would say Esther is... I want to say the backbone of Eternal because she's done so many lead vocals.
That's all she
Vernie,
could give me.
Well, I didn't want to say something else, but you got off lightly.
I can take it until the next greatest hits. You find something decent to say.
for me, I think she's very diplomatic, and I've said before, and she's great with contracts. She looks over them first and says, girls, I don't think this is great, I don't like this, I don't like this, that actually means this, it doesn't actually mean that, and explains things to you. So that's great to have somebody who's wise in those kind of ways. Esther, I just think she's a great vocalist. People really underrate her, and I think she's a great vocalist. If people took the time out and to come to shows and see what we're really about, then they would give her the pat on the back that she deserves.
Be able to still have the ability to produce good music and good vocals.
If Eternal could have one wish, for me, it would be to get to another greatest hits.
I think for most artists, greatest hits sums up their whole careers, and something that takes a lifetime of achievements to put together. For us, we're fortunate. We've had enough success and enough hits to have a greatest hits at such an early stage of our careers. 3 albums down the line, and we've got 12 songs to make up a greatest hits album, and that's great. And it's such an achievement at such a young age. But we feel, we've got album 4 planned in our minds, and album 4 to create and to write and to make. So the future looks really bright for us, and we feel it's just the starting, just the beginning of a great career.
It's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late. The Lord will see you through. Just call on His name, and His strength and love will guide you. Just open up your heart, and He will turn your life around. He's able to guide you, lead you. Just open up your heart and invite Him to come in. Just believe in Him and know that it's never too late. It's never too late.